Congressman Paul.
Just a very brief statement. I, too, served in the Air Force for 5 years during the height of the Cold War from '62 to '68. So I've had a little bit of experience. Matter of fact, I was over in the Afghanistan-Pakistan region. But I would like to point out one thing about the Taliban. The Taliban used to be our allies when we were fighting the Russians. So the Taliban are people who want, their main goal is to keep foreigners off their land. It's the Al-Qaeda. You can't mix the two. The Al-Qaeda want to come here to kill us. But Taliban just says, we don't want foreigners. We need to understand that, or we can't resolve this problem in the Middle East. We're going to spend a lot of lives and a lot of money for a long time to come.
Kelly Evans.
Governor Romney. Congressman Paul, different question. Your plan to...
Why can't I ask you about that one?
You were included in the question in the first place. Do you want 30 seconds to respond to this?
I need a minute. No, I think we're going in the wrong direction for the protection of our liberties here at home. They're under deep threat. The Patriot Act has eliminated the Fourth Amendment. We now have a policy of preemptive war. You don't have to declare war, and you don't even have to have an enemy. We can start the wars. That's what preemptive war is all about. Now, with the Military Appropriation Defense Act, this is major. This says that the military can arrest an American citizen for under suspicion, and he can be held indefinitely without habeas corpus and denied a lawyer indefinitely, even in a prison here. Let me give you one statistic. You're worrying about all these, where we're going to try people, where are they going to do? We have to do it secretly because our rule of law is so flawed. We have arrested 362 people related to Al-Qaeda top operation. 260 of them are in prison. They've been tried and convicted. So don't give up on our American judicial system so easily. I beg of you.
Kelly.
I've been a strong, again, a lifetime A+ record with the NRA, worked with them. They came to me repeatedly when I was in the Senate to help them and sponsor legislation and work toward making sure and assuring gun rights. Contrast that with Congressman Paul, and one of the most important things that we did in protecting the Second Amendment, and I provided a leadership role on it, was the gun manufacturer's liability bill. There are a lot of lawyers out there who are trying to sue gun manufacturers and hold them liable for anybody who was harmed as a result of the gun properly functioning. And we went forward and passed, with the NRA's backing, a bill that put a ban on those types of lawsuits. If that ban had not been passed, if that gun manufacturer's liability bill, removing them from liability from that, had that not been passed, there would have been no gun industry in this country, and there would have de facto been no Second Amendment right. Congressman Paul voted against that bill. And that's a very big difference between someone who actually works with the gun Second Amendment groups for legislation that can protect that right, and someone who says they're for Second Amendment has attacked me on my Second Amendment issues, which you just referred to. And here's a man that would have wiped out the Second Amendment if his vote would have been carried the day.
Congressman Paul.
Hardly would that wipe out the Second Amendment. But the jurisdiction is obviously with the state. Even when tort law is involved with medical malpractice, which is a real problem. Now, our governor worked on, and our state has done a little bit on medical liability. I think that's the way it should be handled. You don't have national tort law. That's not part of the process. That should be at the state level. So to argue the case that does away with the Second Amendment, when I'm the one that offers all the legislation to repeal the gun bans that have been going on, automatic rifles, everything else. I mean, I've introduced legislation like that. So that's a bit of an overstretch to say that I've done away with the Second Amendment.
I need to respond to that, because the fact is, if we did not have a national liability bill, then people would have been able to go to states like, say, Massachusetts or New York and sue gun manufacturers where they would not pass a gun liability bill. So unless you have a national standard to protect manufacturers of guns, you would create the opportunity for the elimination of guns being manufactured in this country and de facto elimination of the right to bear arms.
Well, this is where our Constitution disappears. It's nibbled away. So, well, I can give up on this, and therefore I'll give that, and so then eventually there's nothing left. But no, tort law should be a state function.
Speaker
Gingrich, super PACs.
All right, as we're back here in Myrtle Beach, let's go to John Roberts with an update on how the Twitter audience thought the candidates fared tonight. Hi, John.
Hey, good evening to you, Brett. Yeah, we've been asking people who have been watching to tweet into Twitter either a hashtag that says answer when a candidate answers a question or hashtag dodge if they think that they dodge it. Let's take a look, first of all, on the economy.
Okay.
Newt Gingrich doing fairly well on the economy. Most people thought that he was answering the questions. Mitt Romney below the line, though, with the dodge as we go through Santorum, Perry, and Ron Paul. They're all above the line, giving fairly good answers, at least satisfactory answers on the economy. Let's switch now to another topic here as we're looking at foreign policy. Newt Gingrich did very well on foreign policy. Mitt Romney, as you can see, below the line. I've got to tell you, he spent most of the night below the line. Rick Santorum seen as giving good answers, as well as Rick Perry. And Ron Paul, we've got to tell you, Ron Paul spent the entire night in the good answer section. On the issue of race, look at this. Mitt Romney way down again, while Newt Gingrich is way up. Those were some of his biggest spikes of the night. Rick Santorum, a kind of middling performance on that. The same with Rick Perry. Ron Paul, again, very, very strong support. On Romney's record, which was a big topic of the night, let's take a look. Gingrich below the line. That was his talking about Bain Capital right off the beginning with Brett's first question. Mitt Romney spent the entire night below the line on that. Santorum as well as Perry. Ron Paul, again, seen as the only one giving real straight answers on some of these topics. Let's drill down on Mitt Romney himself. On his